Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a literally electrifying story from the source text Elara's Ember, the spark that lit the world. Picture this. It's October 2007. A massive, violent storm is just absolutely hammering the tiny town of Rivermoor. Inside the local hospital, a terrified 28-year-old named Elara Voss is in labor. The heart monitors are going crazy, the lights are flickering right along with her cries, and the medical team is, well, they're completely baffled. And then, at exactly 11:47 p.m., baby Elara enters the world. But it's not a normal birth. She arrives with a wail that echoes like a clap of thunder, and for one impossible second, this intense golden radiance just envelops her tiny body. It's a literal spark lighting up the delivery room.
Now the doctors, of course, they blame faulty wiring or, sheer exhaustion for that flash of light. But Elara, holding her newborn, she definitely knows better. She whispers a question that pretty much frames our entire journey today. What are you? It's the ultimate hook, right? I mean, how does a hidden, seemingly dangerous, totally unnatural miracle end up transforming into a global symbol of ethical power? Well, that is exactly the journey we're going to map out together right now. So let's move into the first major phase of Elara's life, the spark of difference.
Okay, so let's dive into the early evidence. The text notes that in those first few weeks, Elara was strangely calm. But then, the unnatural stuff started happening. A pacifier would just teleport into the crib. A mobile would start spinning with zero breeze in the room. Imagine trying to baby-proof your house against telekinesis. Honestly, Elara actually caught the most chilling evidence on a hidden nursery camera. It showed Elara's tiny baby hand reaching out, and a fallen rattle literally lifting right back into her grasp without anyone touching it. Put yourself in Elara's shoes for a second. Being a single mom in a tight-knit, super suspicious community and seeing that, it wasn't just awe-inspiring, it was deeply unsettling. Elara was, quite frankly, terrified.
And that fear, it really only compounded as Elara got older. At birth, it was just this golden glow and ambient warmth, like bathwater that never went cold. But fast forward to age 5 and things are seriously escalating. She's levitating a red rubber ball. And then, after a poacher shoots a deer she had empathetically connected with out in the woods, her grief actually triggers a massive accidental fire. By age 13, she was lifting the family's broken-down car a whole foot off the ground. The crucial takeaway here is the sheer, terrifying escalation of these abilities. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Elara's response was to just constantly uproot them, right? Moving to increasingly isolated cabins, homeschooling her, demanding absolute secrecy. Because for them, isolation became the only shield against a world that fears what it doesn't understand.
But, as we all know, isolation can only last for so long. Which brings us to our next section, finding her found family.
Because even superpowered kids have to go to high school. Elara finally gives in, and 13-year-old Elara has to somehow navigate Rivermoor High. And just like literally any teenager, she is struggling to fit in, totally hiding who she really is. But that facade cracks wide open during chemistry class. A Bunsen burner tips over, and flames go racing straight toward the sleeve of her classmate Mia. In that moment, instinct just takes over. Time seems to slow down for Elara. She extends her mind, and she literally reverses the fire, sucking it right back into the burner. She saves Mia, absolutely, but in doing so, she accidentally exposes her deepest, darkest secret.
But here is the amazing part. Instead of pitchforks and panic, she actually finds her tribe. This is where her isolated little bubble finally pops open. We get this awesome support trio. There's Elara, the powerhouse, obviously. Then we have Mia Ramirez, who is super energetic and artistic. She provides the creative cover, drawing these power diagrams and masking Elara's abilities as just, fantasy art. And then we have Lucas Kane. He's quiet, observant, and really driven by the tragic loss of his own enhanced brother. Lucas is the brains of the operation. He handles the research and logic, even building actual Faraday cages in abandoned sheds so Elara can test her abilities safely. Together, they form this secret society. They give Elara the emotional grounding she's so desperately needed to master her powers without, accidentally burning the whole world down.
I actually love Mia's reaction to all of this. It's so perfect. She tells Elara, "You have this vibe, like you're hiding epic secrets. I like it." Doesn't that just perfectly capture the essence of a found family? True friendship doesn't run away from our differences or our vulnerabilities. It leans in and embraces them. Mia didn't fear the fire at all. She just wanted to help Elara control it.
So with that solid foundation built, the narrative hits a massive acceleration point. Here we are, at stepping into the light.
By the time she hits 16, Elara is definitely no longer just levitating baby rattles. Her arsenal has matured into something genuinely formidable. We are talking full-blown pyrokinesis, multi-ton telekinesis, limited flight, empathic links, and rapid healing. Just take a second to really process that power set. It's wild. Up until now, she's only used these powers in small, sneaky ways, like nudging a drunk driver's car just enough to prevent a crash. But let's be real, you cannot keep an arsenal like that hidden in the shadows forever.
The moment of explosive, unavoidable exposure finally comes during the Rivermoor Bridge disaster. Torrential rains cause the aging structure to just snap, sending cars plummeting toward a swollen river. Elara doesn't even hesitate. She launches into the air, trailing this brilliant golden fire like a literal comet. She uses her multi-ton telekinesis to gently lower falling minivans to the riverbank. She's superheating the water below to create these massive steam lifts for the vehicles that are already submerged. It is an incredibly fast-paced, high-stakes rescue. And of course, because we live in the age of smartphones, blurry helicopter footage of the whole thing goes completely viral. Overnight, she earns a global nickname, Fire Angel.
But, as you might guess, viral fame attracts some very powerful and very dangerous attention. Enter Dr. Harlan Crow and the Aegis Initiative. Now, they present themselves as this super shadowy international group offering support and training to enhanced individuals. They swoop in right after the bridge collapse, trying to recruit Elara under the guise of, helping her prevent future disasters. But as we'll quickly see, the institutional threat they pose is way more dangerous than any collapsing bridge.
And that brings us to a really critical, really intense junction in the source material, the storm of betrayal.
Elara is forced into her first true, major battle against an ex-military storm user who goes by the name Vortex. But the real conflict here isn't just a physical slugfest, it's deeply ethical. Look at the stark contrast here on the slide. Elara's ethos is built entirely on empathy, protection, and autonomy. She fights to save lives, keeping her moral compass firmly intact. On the flip side, Aegis and Vortex, they operate purely on weaponization, chaos, and control. Aegis just wants to control her like an asset, while Vortex just wants to cause utter chaos. Both of them view her not as a human being, but as a weapon.
So, Elara actually initially agrees to train with Aegis, mostly just to protect her family, but she very quickly uncovers their dark side. The text details this absolutely agonizing betrayal. Aegis isn't a friendly support group at all. They are running forced enhancements, pumping people full of suppression drugs, and focusing purely on military applications. The whole shebang. And even worse, Dr. Crow plans to use her enemy, Vortex, as the prototype for a new line of controllable super soldiers. It's a gut-wrenching realization for Elara. And of course, it backfires spectacularly when Vortex escapes, now fully augmented with Aegis tech, and unleashes a revenge-fueled super tornado directly on Elara's hometown of Rivermoor.
The climax of this story is basically apocalyptic. We're talking hurricane-force winds, flying cars, entire buildings collapsing. Defeating Vortex takes literally everything Elara has, and the text breaks this down into distinct phases. It starts with just pure brute force. She's engaging in brutal physical combat just to survive, literally holding buildings together with her mind. But Elara quickly realizes that force alone isn't going to cut it. The real game changer here is empathy. Right in the eye of the storm, she manages to connect with his pain. She feels his deep agony of being abandoned by his commanders. She tells him, "We can choose better." And that causes him to hesitate just for a second, but that one hesitation allows her to absorb the full, immense fury of the storm directly into her own body, glowing as bright as a sun. Finally, she releases all that devastating energy completely harmlessly into the sky as a brilliant glowing aurora. So empathy, not just fire, was the ultimate key to subduing the storm.
Following that breathtaking, hard-won victory, we finally reach the last phase of her journey, an eternal legacy. Fast forward to age 25, and Elara has just entirely transformed. She is definitely no longer that terrified little child hiding out in the woods. After exposing Dr. Crow and totally reforming Aegis with absolute transparency, she's actually become a global leader. She goes on to pursue college degrees in environmental science and psychology, and alongside her now husband Lucas and her best friend Mia, she leads all these new initiatives to train young, enhanced individuals, doing it ethically, safely, and with really deep compassion.
It's genuinely incredible to see how far she's come. There's this beautiful scene where, in the exact same forest where she once accidentally started a massive fire in a panic, she's now kneeling beside a young, struggling, enhanced girl. Elara ignites this soft, gentle little flame in her hand and says, "You're not alone. Our sparks together light the way." It just beautifully bookends that whole motif of fire that we've been tracking throughout this explainer. It's no longer this scary symbol of destruction or fear. It's completely transformed into a symbol of warmth, guidance, and shared knowledge.
Elara's journey from a hidden, terrified secret to a guiding light is just such a powerful reminder. It shows us that the things that make us different, the very things we might be so tempted to hide away, are often the exact gifts the world needs the most. It's not just about what kind of power you have. It's about the ethos and the heart with which you use it. So I want to leave you with this final, really crucial question to ponder today. How will you wield your own unique spark in the world? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.